everybody, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about why 90s fashion is still relevant today and how we can kind of incorporate it into some new fashion looks, some new ideas. I've gotten these ideas from watching 90s runways. I've been watching a lot of 90s shows lately, and I think those are kind of good places to draw inspiration from. If you're ever feeling a little bit bored with your closet, you can always turn on some old TV shows and see what was trending back then. While I've been researching 90s trends, I've noticed some of the things that are still relevant today and are still kind of popping up in different, more modern, minimalist ways in 2024. The 90s was such an iconic fashion era, and I think we still draw from it a lot. Looking back at the 90s, it's made me notice the silhouettes and trends that we're still drawing inspiration from. I wanted to highlight some designers and trends that I feel like is still relevant today, as well as highlighting how you can use the 90s to recreate and revive your wardrobe. Something I noticed about the 90s that I feel like we've lost a little bit now is how huge textures were. I feel like using textures in your wardrobe is such a fun way to create a statement piece without doing too much. Velvets and pleats were the material that stood out to me a lot from the 90s. I feel like you could pair like a velvet top with a pair of jeans, make it really simple and minimalist still, while giving a little bit more texture and life to your outfit. I've noticed some velvet tops in the thrift store, and I've also noticed some velvet dresses, like velvet maxi dresses. I feel like velvet maxi dresses are so perfect for the spring, especially over a t-shirt to make it a little bit more casual and an everyday look, which brings me to my next point, which is layering. Layering is obviously seen in this day and age. I just feel like it's very different from the 90s. For example, as I said, the 90s were big for layering t-shirts and maxi dresses over top. I feel like you don't see this as often now. Another thing that was popular was really formally fitted vests and long sleeves underneath. I like to do this with an outdoor vest, but I also like to do it with a vest blazer, which I feel like you don't see as often nowadays. A lot of the vests that they used to pair over top of the long sleeves are quite dated now, and I personally am not a big fan of them, but I feel like there's a lot of vests that are being made in more modern ways. You can find it on Naked, you can find it on Reformation, you can find it pretty much any clothing site that sells women's clothing, and I feel like that's a way you can make it really modern and new and fun, and this is really great for workplace wear. Depending on where you work too, you could definitely do the maxi dress with the t-shirt pairing. I feel like that combo with the dress is so cute with the high boot as well. So as I mentioned, the blazers, I feel like back in the 90s, at least on the runways, they were doing a lot of fitted and cinched blazers. I do believe there was some baggy blazers going on as well, maybe more in streetwear, and that is a look that you see more today. I think the baggy blazer is much more modern and much more fitting for today's era. It's definitely drawing inspiration from the 90s a lot, and that is a look that I love to look back at some 90s streetwear to get inspiration on how to style blazers and what cuts I personally like. Looking back at the 90s, you can see some really unique silhouettes that you could try to find today and maybe do something just a little bit different on the blazer look. So the next thing again still exists today, obviously. It is a high neckline, and I feel like we see this more in turtlenecks and sweaters, but in the 90s you could see it in dresses, you could see it in long sleeves, you could see it in a lot of different wear and cuts that you don't see as much today. I feel like today you see more rounded cuts and mock turtleneck lines, and then in the 2000s it was more v-necks and some weird cuts for sure in the 2000s. And I feel like there's something really elegant about the 90s having these high neckline, and it would be a short sleeve dress silhouette. I feel like when I see these looks nowadays, it's just so refreshing and something new. You can actually find dresses like this on eBay or in thrift stores. I feel like if you're feeling a little bored with your wardrobe when you're going out, pairing a dress like this with a blazer over top would be a really fun look. So for the last trend that I'm going to mention, it kind of incorporates also the capsule wardrobe. I feel like that's become really popular in the last few years, including me. I'm trying to get more basic statement pieces and then slowly branching out and getting more unique pieces to pair with those basic pieces. Something I noticed about the 90s is there's a lot of ditzy over-the-top patterns, and as I mentioned before in this video, I've noticed that we've gone a more minimalist, one-tone look for the most part nowadays. So especially to pair with a capsule wardrobe, it is really fun to get some ditzy over-the-top pieces, and you can pair these with your more basic capsule wardrobe pieces just to give a bit more life to your outfit. I wanted to mention some 90s designers and brands that I've noticed with these trends that are popular. So for pleats, I've noticed that Issey Miyake, he is a Japanese designer, I'm probably totally butchering the name, is a really great lookup. And there's also a lot of really cool shirts and patterns. Like obviously he's just not known for pleats, but that's one of his big things in the 90s, is doing a line I believe called Pleats Please, which is a bunch of different pleated looks. And then he's still relevant today. Like a lot of his pieces today are worth a lot more. They're worth like $300 to $400. So if you want something a little bit more reasonable, you can look up vintage pieces from him. Not all of them are reasonable, but a lot of them are. A brand I noticed that's really good is Nap Studio. They have a lot of 90s dresses and top. Another two brands for 90s dresses is a brand called All That Jazz, and then a brand called Jump, which has velvet dresses. I find in general a lot of these styles people are not as into anymore, so they are selling them on Depop or they're getting rid of them at a thrift store. So in general, I feel like a lot of these pieces can be thrifted, but you can definitely see them being recreated in the store as well. As I mentioned, naked fashion is really good for blazers and vests. I've noticed Reformation, which is a little bit on the pricier side but definitely has high quality things, are really good for dresses and vests and blazers as well. I know that Princess Polly has some dresses too that aren't necessarily 90s cut. They have a big option of maxi dresses and dresses with patterns in general on them. Let me know if you guys like this video. I can definitely do more like this. I'll also be grabbing some pieces soon that are more 90s inspired, so I can also do a video that's a 90s inspired outfits video. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.